This story is titled, My Stepmother Threw Away My Late Mother's Belongings, so I made sure she was never welcome in our family again. My name is Lily Carter. I'm 26 years old and I live in Seattle. I've always been close to my family, especially my dad. He was my rock after my mom passed away. We leaned on each other through the grief, through the endless, aching nights of missing her. But then, everything changed. My dad remarried. I wanted to be happy for him. Truly, I did. He had been lonely for years, and I knew he deserved companionship. So when he met Vanessa, I tried to keep an open mind. I told myself that just because he had moved on didn't mean he had forgotten my mom. But Vanessa, she was different. At first, she seemed polite, even warm. She smiled a lot, always had something sweet to say, and made sure to tell my dad how much she respected his past. But something felt off. Maybe it was the way she spoke about my mom in a detached way, as if she were just some distant memory. Something my dad would eventually move on from completely. And then one day, she crossed a line I could never forgive. I came home one weekend to visit my dad. I hadn't been there in a few weeks, and I was looking forward to spending time with him. But the moment I stepped through the front door, I felt it. Something was wrong. The house smelled different, too clean, like someone had scrubbed every inch of it. And then I noticed some of my mom's things were missing. The framed picture of her and my dad that always sat on the entryway table? Gone. The small decorative box she had given me as a child, which I always left on the bookshelf? Vanished. My heart pounded as I rushed to my old bedroom. And that's when I saw it. My closet, where I had stored the few precious belongings of my mother's that I couldn't bear to part with, was nearly empty. Her favorite blue sweater, the locket she used to wear every day, the letters she had written me for special occasions, ones I was saving to read when I needed her most. All gone. Panic surged through me. I tore through the room, searching, my breath coming in shallow gasps. I ran to the hall closet, the storage bins in the garage, anywhere they could have been moved. Nothing. That's when Vanessa walked in. "Oh," she said, tilting her head with an innocent smile. "I didn't think you'd notice." The way she said it, so casual, so dismissive, made my blood boil. "What did you do?" My voice shook. She sighed, crossing her arms. "Lily, your dad and I are trying to build a new life together. It's been years. Don't you think it's time to let go of the past?" I could barely process what she was saying. My hands trembled as I took a step closer. "Where are my mom's things?" I demanded. She shrugged. "I donated some, threw away the rest. They were just collecting dust." My heart stopped. She threw them away. Everything. The last, irreplaceable pieces of my mother. The things that smelled like her, that held her handwriting, that carried her warmth. Gone. And she said it like it was nothing. I don't remember much of what happened next, only that my vision blurred with rage. I don't think I had ever screamed at someone the way I screamed at her. I don't even remember my dad coming into the room, but suddenly he was there, stepping between us. "Lily, what's going on?" he asked, his eyes flicking between me and Vanessa. And she had the audacity to play the victim. "I was just trying to make space for us, honey," she said, her voice all soft and sweet. I didn't think she'd react like this. I turned to my dad, desperate for him to understand. "Dad, she threw away Mom's things. All of it. Just gone." He looked confused, like he didn't know how to process what he was hearing. Vanessa placed a hand on his arm. "It was just some old things, sweetheart. I thought we could start fresh." Start fresh. Like my mom never existed. I saw the hesitation in my dad's eyes, the way he looked at her, the doubt creeping in, and it shattered me. He should have been furious. He should have defended me. But instead, he just looked tired. "Maybe it was a misunderstanding," he said weakly. A misunderstanding. I felt like I couldn't breathe. It was in that moment I realized something. Vanessa didn't just want to be in my dad's life. She wanted to erase my mother's presence entirely. And my dad, whether he realized it or not, was letting her. I knew what I had to do. I wouldn't let her win. I wouldn't let my mother's memory be tossed aside like garbage. If my dad wouldn't stand up to her, I would. But I had to be smart about it, so I made a plan. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, all I could see was my mother's belongings. Her sweater, her letters, the delicate locket she used to wear. All gone. Stolen by a woman who had slithered her way into our family. A woman who had no respect for the life that existed before her. And my dad? He hadn't even fought for me. That hurt the most. But I wasn't about to let Vanessa erase my mother. If she thought she could push me out, silence me, make me accept this, she was dead wrong. So I made my move. The next morning, I was eerily calm. I walked into the kitchen like nothing had happened. Vanessa was there, sipping her coffee like she hadn't just ripped my heart out the night before. "Morning," she chirped. I forced a smile. "Morning." She had no idea what was coming. I waited until my dad came down, rubbing his temples like he had a headache. He barely glanced at me. Maybe he thought I'd let it go. Big mistake. I took a deep breath. "Hey, Dad! There's something I want to show you." He sighed. "Lily, I don't want to keep fighting about this." "I know," I said, voice smooth. "Just humor me." He hesitated, but eventually nodded. I led him to the living room where I had set up my laptop. I pressed play, and Vanessa's world came crashing down. See, Vanessa wasn't as careful as she thought. A few weeks earlier, she had been talking to one of her friends on the phone, on speaker, and I had been just down the hall. I had recorded the whole thing. On the audio, her voice was crystal clear. "He still keeps her stuff all over the house," she had laughed. "It's pathetic. He'll get over it eventually, though. I'll make sure of that." Then came the part that made my dad go pale. "I've been slowly getting rid of things, little by little. He hasn't even noticed. And Lily? Ugh, she's so attached to the past. She'll throw a fit, but it doesn't matter. Once I marry him, she won't have a say in anything." Silence. Vanessa's coffee cup slipped from her hands, shattering against the floor. My dad's face, I'll never forget it. His expression went from confusion to horror to pure burning rage. "Vanessa," he said, voice dangerously low. "Tell me this isn't real." She stammered, reaching for him, but he stepped back. "Tell me," he repeated, his voice shaking, "that you didn't manipulate me, that you didn't try to erase my wife." Vanessa's face twisted. "I was helping you move on. She's been gone for years, James. I was trying to make space for us. By throwing away her things, by lying to me?" She went silent, and that's when he made his decision. "Get out." Her eyes widened. "What?" "Pack your things. Get out of my house." She turned to me, hatred burning in her eyes. "You did this." I smiled. "No, Vanessa, you did this." She screamed, cursed, but it didn't matter. My dad didn't budge. Within an hour, she was gone. And just like that, peace returned to our home. It took time for my dad and me to heal. There were a lot of difficult conversations, a lot of tears, but he made it clear. He was sorry. He had been blind to who Vanessa really was, too eager to move on, and in doing so, he had almost lost me. But I forgave him, because in the end, I won. Vanessa never stepped foot in our home again, and my mother's memory, it would never be erased. What would you have done in my place? Would you have exposed Vanessa or handled it differently? Let me know in the comments.